are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to at theleap.substack.com. Exclusive content there with me and Jason Hirschhorn. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Today's episode is brought to you by our Locked On NFL preview, the ultimate season preview. We are taking you inside every division with the help of Odyssey's Ross Tucker and Jason La Canfora. Follow the ultimate season preview 2021 feed on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts now through September 8th. We are getting ready to get through a preview of the 2021 Packers season. We have a loaded week of content for you on Locked On Packers. Of course, if you subscribe to The Leap, you will get even more of what we do here. We are now on YouTube. We have launched. Today is the day. So this episode is up on YouTube, hopefully as we speak. And we'll be up every day. Every day we have a podcast. There will be a YouTube version of the podcast on video. Me, whoever my guest is. If we have a guest, we do not have a guest today, but we will certainly coming up here in the future days. And we also are going to be live every Friday. This is something we've done in years past with our Friday live streams. Injury reports come out. We go live, we talk about those things, and then we get your questions. That is something that is going to continue to be a part of what we do here in 2021 with Locked On Packers. And the fact that we now have YouTube makes it even easier. We're going to be live on YouTube. You can come hang out with us. You can come be a part of everything that we do here with Locked On Packers. We've got Stacey Dales for Expert Tuesday this week. We've got Zhao Yuduin. Lily Zhao is here on Wednesday. We have Ross Jackson, my guy from Locked On Saints. He is going to be here on Thursday. And then we are live on Friday to get us set for Packers Saints week 1 in Duval, Jacksonville. We are going to be neutral site. I won't be there. Maybe you'll be there. I've heard from a lot of Packers fans who will, in fact, be there. I wish I could be there. A lot of obligations will prevent me from being there, but a lot of you have reached out and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Jacksonville. Hey, how do I get to Jacksonville? Hey, I got tickets. I got 50-yard. I got a DM from someone. I got 50-yard line seats, 8th row. Not a problem. Not a problem to get those tickets." And I think there are going to be a lot of Packer fans in the game at the stadium for week 1. They're going to turn Duval into like De Pere. That's what's gonna happen. So today, because normally Mondays are reserved for, we're talking about what happened the following or the previous week, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what happened and what's gonna happen. Nothing happened, right? Nothing happened. We don't have new information on what's going on with New Orleans. As the week progresses, we'll figure out some injury report stuff. So what I want to do is take a broader look, a sort of full season 30,000-foot view look at what this team is going to be this season, make some predictions, maybe look foolish at the end of the year. But look, when you go on and spend 6 hours every week, 5+ hours every week talking about this thing that we call the Green Bay Packers, and then you also add in the written stuff. If you're a member at The Leap and you don't pay, that's fine. That's great. I appreciate you being a part of our community. Monday's newsletter, free. Jason and I, we discuss a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot of things to talk about here as we get set for week 1. I want to take a broad view of this season. I want to go through the games. I want to go through some key players. And I want to try to get us set as best we can for what is coming here in 2021. So let's start with the schedule. Because when the schedule came out, I think there was some consternation. There was a lot of, it's a tough schedule. AFC North, that's a tough division. And the AFC North is a tough division. NFC West, that's a tough division. And the NFC West is a tough division. But I think as we go through these game by game, it starts to even out. Plus 17 games versus the 16. And I think that actually works in this case in Green Bay's favor. Also working in Green Bay's favor, week 1 in New Orleans is not week 1 in New Orleans. It's week 1 in Jacksonville. And again, our hearts go out to those affected by Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Ida didn't just affect those in the Gulf Coast. A lot of people in the Northeast were affected. Across the country, these storms had a major impact and have displaced a lot of people. Still, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands without power in Louisiana. We wish those folks all the best and hope that people are staying safe, that they're getting the help that they need. From a football standpoint, the Packers are favored in this game. When it was announced that this game was being moved, the line also moved, and it is now in that, depending on where you're looking, but if you're looking at Bet Online as we're recording this, it's 4.5. And for Green Bay, so you're on the road. It's not a neutral site game. Then if you're 4.5 point favorites, I mean, it is technically, but I think it's going to be 60-40, 70-30 Packers fans. So I like Green Bay in Jacksonville. Then you get the home opener. You're home for Detroit. That's a win. To me, that's a win. So you're 2-0 heading to San Francisco. This is still going to be Jimmy Garoppolo in all likelihood. And look, I think San Francisco is a very good football team. I think the defense is going to still be very good, although we don't know what DeMeco Ryans' defense compared to Robert Saleh's defense is going to look like. There's going to be the Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance wrinkles that are in there. I think this Packers defense is well suited to deal with some of that stuff. This is not Dom Capers anymore, but let's just, for the sake of argument, and I think when we get to the end of this, you'll understand a little bit better. But let's just say they go to San Francisco and lose, because things happen. Shanahan offensively has done a lot of really great things against the Packers. Not as much last year. Green Bay played really well against San Francisco in a game that everyone's like, well, everyone was hurt. Oh, everyone was hurt. And then the whole week leading up to it, we forget that everyone's like, Packers are going to lose. Shanahan's got LaFleur's number. He's got Mike Pettine's number. And then the Packers blew the doors off San Francisco. And it was like, well, of course, everyone was hurt for San Francisco. Like pretending like there weren't Packers media people who were saying, oh, Green Bay is going to lose this game. Like, let's keep it 100 on this and be honest about what was going on. So, okay, that's a loss. I'm going to keep track of this by losses. Home for Pittsburgh. I don't know that Pittsburgh's going to be that good. I think the defense is going to be good. I'm not convinced that much more than that is going to be very good. I think the offense, Big Ben, that's a big concern. The offensive line is a trash fire, and Green Bay's home. So I think the Lambeau faithful, they get this win. You go into Cincinnati. I think that's a dub. You go into Chicago. I think that's a dub. I don't think Chicago's going to be very good. I don't. Whether Andy Dalton or Justin Fields is starting this game, I really just don't think it matters for the Packers. They're better. They're better. And this is the first real division test. You have to go to Chicago, but it's not like it's, a cold weather, crazy game. You're talking about mid-October. It's October 17th. Like, is that really the kind of craziness that you're expecting? If it's a monsoon game, then maybe weird things can happen. But I don't think Matt Nagy is a very good coach. I don't think Justin Fields is prepared to win a bunch of games for the Bears this season. And, if the Bears find this audio, God bless them. But I'm not going to end up on Old Takes Exposed on this. So I like the win there. You're home for Washington. Washington is going to be a stiff test. Giggity. It's going to be tough because that defense is tough. I just don't know how Washington comes to Green Bay, comes to Lambeau Field and scores enough points to win. I struggle with that. How are they going to come? Ryan Fitzpatrick, Terry McLaurin, they have Logan Thomas, the converted quarterback. Antonio Gibson is a player I really liked for the Packers. And I just don't see offensively them being able to hang with Green Bay. I like that for the Packers. Now, this is a stretch that I think starts to get really tough for Green Bay. They have to go to Arizona to play the Cardinals. Now, this is a game that I could see Green Bay dropping, but I don't think Arizona is going to be that good because I don't think this offense is going to be very good. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't trust him. Tell me the evidence. Show me the game that you watched where you went, I really like this Cliff Kingsbury stuff. It's really nice. It's really good. And they're not talented enough to overcome those deficiencies. Kyler Murray is a very talented runner. He's an inconsistent thrower. And beyond DeAndre Hopkins, the weapons worry me. Is AJ Green going to be playing in this game? The offensive line is still a little bit of a mess. And defensively, that was a strength for this team in a lot of ways last year. But is Chandler Jones going to be healthy? Is JJ Watt going to be healthy? What are they doing at the cornerback position? They don't have any cornerbacks, even healthy right now. Today, they don't have any corners. How are you going to stop Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Aaron Rodgers? How are you going to stop those guys? I don't see it. I just don't see it. Okay? Next week, you go to Kansas City. Okay, probably not going to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Probably going to be a great game, right? And if you win it, then okay, this is a Super Bowl team. It's that simple. And I made the case the other day that I thought Green Bay was better than Kansas City, or at least more talented overall than Kansas City. I stand by all of those things, but I just think going into Arrowhead, you can't pick Green Bay. If Green Bay wins, it's a bonus, but to me, you can't do it. So that's an L. 2 of them now for Green Bay. Home for Seattle. Green Bay has owned Seattle. They've owned Seattle for years now. And now you're bringing in Shane Waldron, who's running this offense that I don't think fits Russell Wilson perfectly by any means. At home, it's tough for me to pick against the Packers here. Then you have to go to Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's going to be very good. This is the problem. So Green Bay is going to drop one of these games. There's going to be a game that they drop where you're just like last year, they lose at home to Minnesota. And it's like, how do they do that? This is one of those games where I just think, Mike Zimmer has had good success. Let's put the L here. There's going to be one of these games they're going to drop and it's going to be weird. So let's just say, okay, this is that game. 3 losses on the schedule so far. You're home for the Rams. Thanksgiving weekend. This is a marquee matchup. This is going to be America's game of the week. This is the Fox game. This is the big game. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And this is when we learn for real. This is when we learn the truth about the Rams and about the Packers. And insofar as one game represents all of that, we don't want to make sweeping generalizations off one game. But I think this is when we find out, okay, the Packers are for real because they win this game in convincing fashion, or the Rams are for real because they go into Lambeau in a relatively cold weather game. I mean, late November, it's going to be chilly at Lambeau. You've got an LA team coming and they're able to get the win if they do. I don't see it. I think Green Bay wins this game, much like they did the playoff game. I don't think Matthew Stafford makes that big a difference because I still think there's issues defensively. I still think that offensive line is a problem. And frankly, I think Matthew Stafford is just a touch overrated heading into the season. So I think Green Bay gets this win. You're home for Chicago. That's a win. You've got to beat the Bears at home. You've got to beat the Bears at home. By this point, we're talking about, mid-December. Presumably Justin Fields is the quarterback at this point. You are home for a rookie quarterback. You have to win that game. Then you go to Baltimore. Tough one. Baltimore does not lose at home. You've got this strange opponent. It's an uncommon, something that was a big deal for Mike McCarthy, an uncommon opponent. So I think when you're talking about what Lamar Jackson can bring here, their weapons are a very real question. But let's take the Ravens here on the road, and now we're at 4 losses. You have the Christmas Day game against the Browns, showcase game. This is the game I think that we learn a lot about the Browns. If they go into Green Bay and they go shot for shot with Aaron Rodgers, with Devontae Adams, with this Packers team in late December, I think that says a lot about Kevin Stefanski. I think it says a lot about Baker Mayfield. I don't have enough faith in Baker Mayfield to pick the Browns to go into Green Bay and win on Christmas. I just don't see it happening. So I don't think that's going to be a win. And then you stay home for Minnesota. If you lost in Minnesota, as we did in this exercise, then you have to beat them at home. Okay. And then you go to Detroit in a game that means nothing for Detroit in week 18. I think Green Bay gets the win. That's 4 losses. In a 17-game season, that's 13-4. It's pretty good. I don't know if you know that. Pretty good. 13-4 seems like the right number to me. I could see 12-5. I don't see a lower number. I just don't. It's really hard for me to envision a lower number given the schedule. If this team stays relatively healthy, they are ready to go on a serious run and make this last dance more than just a metaphor. It is an opportunity to go win a title. And I think that is the position that the Packers put themselves in. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Run Your Pool. Football season is back, so let's make the most of it with the best way to create your custom pool at runyourpool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. Run Your Pool makes it so easy to run a football pool with friends, families, office mates, whoever. You find people off the street. You put a pool together, and they can make it happen at Run Your Pool. They host formats for NFL, for college football, for one-week games, full season playoffs, or the Super Bowl. And unlike other fantasy sports platforms, Run Your Pool has options and setting to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for local businesses, bars, or restaurants. Reconnect with friends and join nearly 2 million football fans to make every game action-packed this season. Check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/lockedon, or use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout anywhere, everywhere in the world. Run Your Pool helps friends and colleagues compete. The NFL season starts September 9th. Start today at runyourpool/lockedon and have your pool up and running in minutes. That's runyourpool.com/lockedon. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Bet Online. It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron. Bet Online is always the number one spot for all your pro and college football action this season. Get the updated odds, props, and contests, including online's biggest $500,000 NFL mega contest and the world's largest $200,000 NFL Survivor contest. Open now at Bet Online. Head to the website or use your mobile device today to sign up for a 100% welcome bonus when you use the promo code Locked On. Be sure to take advantage of the opening day super promo. Make a bet, and they will refund it even if you lose it, up to $25 for new customers only when you use the promo code NFL100. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, from football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Las Vegas casino games. Don't wait. Take advantage of all the great offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. So I want to talk more about some of the players that are going to feature for the Green Bay Packers this season. So there are some big awards, some NFL awards, right? MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go through a couple of these for the Packers. MVP. The MVP for the 2021 season. Let's set aside Aaron Rodgers, because any team, most teams, it's your quarterback. For the Packers, if they have a good year, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, right? So let's just set him aside. Let's just say, okay, non-quarterback division, who is going to be the MVP for the 2021 Green Bay Packers? And I look at it this way. What player most improved their chances to win a Super Bowl. And for me, it's like, okay, relative to what they were the season before. So what player most improved the Packers in 2021 relative to 2020? So whether it's schematically, whether it is production-wise, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the easy way to look at this would be to say, okay, Allen Jenkins, MVP, because for 6 weeks, he's going to play left tackle. For 11 weeks, he's going to be the left guard. And then in the playoffs, he's going to face Aaron Donald. He's going to face Vita Vea. He's going to face, these stud interior defenders for the Packers that they try and go to the Super Bowl. And if they go to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they got to face Chris Jones. If they play the Bills, they got to face Ed Oliver. If they've got to face someone else, the Colts, let's say, go on a miraculous run, they got to face DeForest Buckner. They need someone like Elgton Jenkins. But Elgton Jenkins played last year. So is he the MVP? I mean, I think you can make your case here. And I think it's a good case for Elgton Jenkins. The guy that I want to make the case for is Adrian Amos. Stay with me on this one. This defense is so reliant on safety play. You have to be able to fly downhill and make tackles in the run game. You have to be able to check on the fly what you're doing. You have to be able to disguise your coverage, to spin your safeties. Adrian Amos has got to come flying down, and now he's robbing the middle of the field, or he's playing deep so Darnell Savage can rob the middle of the field where he was so effective last year. He is the anchor because this is a defense he knows. Darnell Savage, the upside, we know what the upside is. There's a lot of it there. So he could be Eddie Jackson. He could be Justin Simmons. He could be some of these guys who have absolutely thrived in this kind of defense at the safety position. But in order to have that, you need someone else who can just do the little things, who can be reliable open field tacklers. Darnell Savage, not as reliable as Adrian Amos. Someone who understands the intricacies of this defense and can make sure everyone is aligned correctly. All of that stuff is crucial for what this Packers defense wants to do. The pre-snap disguise is foundational to how they want to play. So I like this. If it's not Aaron Rodgers, and it's Aaron Rodgers. I think Amos is the guy that is steadying the ship defensively to make sure that this scheme change is maximally effective. Let's go most improved. My most improved is Rashawn Gary. I think Rashawn Gary takes that step forward. He's going to be the guy early in the season. Zadarius Smith is hurt. He's hurt. And that sucks because he's a very good player. He has been an extremely important player for the Green Bay Packers over the last 2 seasons. And just objectively has been one of the best free agent signings the Packers have ever made, and one of the best free agent signings of the last decade, full stop. The money that they paid, the risk that they took, a part-time player. They took a part-time player and made him not just a full-time player, but a full-time freaking superstar. That's what they did. That's what Zadarius Smith did. Let's credit the player here because the Packers didn't do it. Zadarius Smith did it. He elevated his own game to superstar levels. He was incredible and continues to be a player who can be very good for the Green Bay Packers. What is his history beyond the season? I don't know. I don't know. Can they come to an agreement on extension? I don't know. They probably have to do an extension in order for Zadarius Smith to be on this team moving forward. That's not important this year. What is important this year is that most improved player, at least for these purposes. Rashawn Gary is my guy. He is my guy. And I'm very excited to see him get more opportunities. He seems to be someone who works tirelessly at his craft and is always going to compete his ass off. If you're really talented and you care, that is a very good recipe for you being successful in whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing. just being talented, not enough. Just working hard, I hate to tell you, not enough. There has to be some baseline level of talent. And Rashawn Gary's talent level through the roof. Through the roof. Effort. That's the big question for all these guys who are super talented. And Mike Smith gushes about the effort that Rashawn Gary is putting in. So I really like his opportunity this season to break out, and we're going to see it early. He's going to be the starter, I think, early. And when Zadarius Smith comes back, he might continue to be the starter because of beating out Preston Smith, or Preston Smith, and Gary and Zadarius all are on the field at once. We'll see. That's my breakout player of these rookies. Ben Fennell was on this show last week talking about TJ Slayton and his place and the impact that he can make. And I do think Slayton can be a big part of what the Packers are doing and what they are and who they want to be defensively. This rotation is going to be essential to what they're able to do. So I like that pick, but it's not the trendy pick. It's not the hipster pick. The Packers need Eric Stokes to be their rookie of the year. That's what they need, because it can't be Kevin King. We've seen it. We know what it looks like when he's the guy, and we know he's going to struggle to stay healthy. That has been the case his entire career. We know that the vicissitudes of his play are going to make it very difficult to find any sort of consistency out of that cornerback 2 spot. So if you're willing to take your lumps with Eric Stokes, and trust me, I am, but I don't make these calls, I think he is the guy that has to be your rookie of the year. If you're the Packers, has to be your rookie of the year. Now, if you get, if Amari Rodgers comes in and all of a sudden he's killing it, fine, great. If Rice Newman is a Pro Bowl right guard, great. That's awesome. If Josh Myers, and Josh Myers, I don't know what the upside there is. I don't know with Royce Newman the same way. Maybe not. But if those guys are awesome, that's really good for your football team. It's really good for your football team. So I still think that the guy that they need the most is Eric Stokes. And so he is the guy I also have the most faith in to be the most productive. And that is something that I think is really important. I think it will continue to be important. And that's where I'm going there. If there's a surprise player, if there is a surprise player in 2021 for the Green Bay Packers, I don't know how surprising this will be. So, because I want to say Josiah DeGuara. Matt LaFleur loves Josiah DeGuara. In that way, I don't know how surprising it would be, because DeGuara is LaFleur's boy. But I think he's going to break out a little bit. It's going to be one of these linebackers, whether it's Chris Barnes, whether it's Devondre Campbell. Who cares? I don't. It's going to be one of those guys. I think they're going to play well enough that you're just going to go, okay, they're fine. I mean, this is something that still Packers fans still get really worked up over. Oh, the linebacker. I don't care that much, but I think these guys are going to play better in the system. I think Joe Barry is going to be able to coach them up, and I think they are going to be in a good position to make plays consistently, whether they are field tilters. Honestly, I don't care. I don't think they are, and I don't think that matters, because I think Green Bay has enough of those at other positions. So I think they're going to surprise some people by just being solid. I mean, I think Barnes was a surprise player last year, so let's take him out. I think it's going to be Devondre Campbell. I think he's going to be rock damn solid, and I think people are going to be surprised by that, because they haven't seen him. We haven't seen him in the preseason. Most people have not seen him in training camp. He came in, and after like 2 days, he's the starter. Like, seriously, 2 days, 3 days. That stuff matters. Like, these coaches are not dumb. It is obvious to them if you come in, not like the Packers, Oren Burks, he had a good camp. Ty Summers, he had a good camp. They had Kamal Martin, who was an impressive guy last year. It's not like they didn't have guys. This guy comes in and within minutes, hours, he's ready. He's the guy. He's the starter. He's the mic. He's the guy calling the signals. I mean, that doesn't happen. And while, the Pro Football Focus grades are not great and the numbers are not splashy, and you go and watch the tape and you go, okay, well, he's not making interceptions. He's not forcing a bunch of fumbles. All he does is start football games. And I think he's going to surprise some people this year for the Packers. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the other stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment that you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream. And it brings you your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes. No need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, no annual contract. Get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your DirecTV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. It's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It is the best. It is something that I eat on a regular basis. I hear from people all the time, hey man, I got some Built Bars. And you were right. They are the truth. And then they proceed to tell me their favorite flavors. And there are flavors that run the gamut. You've got the decadent dessert flavors, the double chocolates, the chocolate brownies, the salted caramels. Then you've got the fruit flavors, the cherry barcias, the raspberries, and they are all covered in 100% chocolate. And so you're going, okay, well, these are candy bars then, right? No, they are low in net carbs, low in sugar, high in protein, high in fiber, and yet they still taste like candy bars. It's unbelievable. Go to built.com and get 15% off your first order with the promo code LOCKED15. That's 15% off at built.com. And betting on the Packers doesn't have to be a guessing game if you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get podcasts. That is it for our first show on YouTube, our first show of the 2021 season in earnest. We are ready to go. Packers Saints in Jacksonville Sunday afternoon. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Go subscribe to The Leap. Check us out. The Monday newsletter is free. Get a feel for what we're doing. And we've had a number of people reach out and say, hey, I started with the free. I started getting this stuff. This is awesome. Take my money. So go check it out at theleap.substack.com. Check us out, Locked On Packers, on YouTube. Go subscribe. That'd be awesome. Go subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Also, any podcast platform that you can find, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, the Odyssey app. Check us out, of course, on the Odyssey app. And anytime you want to hit us up on the Locked On Packers fan hotline, we will be live on Friday on YouTube answering your questions. So send us your questions on the Locked On Packers fan hotline, 920-341-3775 to stay Locked On Packers.